Investor confidence is on the rise, or is it? We have that story coming up in the Bahamas Tonight, the weekend edition.
And coming up in sports, the HBCUX Classic dubbed a smashing success. The Bahamas Tonight, the weekend edition, starts now.
Now in HD. Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
Good evening, everyone. I'm LaDawn Davis, and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight Weekend Edition. Thanks so much for tuning in. Topping the news tonight, we've been trying to reach officials from the Police Department and Financial Intelligence Unit in Belize on the status of two Bahamians, Calvin Leach and Ron Knowles, who were taken into police custody yesterday while trying to leave that island. Our Altavis Munnings has been following this developing story and has the details in this report.
We've been trying to reach officials from the Police Department and Financial Intelligence Unit in Belize for most of Sunday on the status of two Bahamians, Calvin Leach and Ron Knowles, who were taken into police custody on Saturday at the Philip S. W. Golson Airport in Belize. According to 7 News Belize, the men who own Titan International Securities headquartered in that country have been named, along with 4 other defendants, in a federal indictment of reportedly participating in a scheme which defrauded the U.S. government of $1 billion Belize dollars in taxes. Belize TV also reported that U.S. authorities say they will seek to extradite Knowles and Leach, along with the other defendants, to face trial, but no official request has been made to Belize's Foreign Affairs Ministry. Last week, Tuesday, the U.S.-funded anti-drug unit took 8 hours to clean out Titan International Securities offices, which resulted in truckloads of documents, records, computers, and personal items confiscated and delivered to Belize's Financial Intelligence Unit. 7 News Belize reports that Leach and Knowles were leaving that country on Saturday on a flight to Cancun when they were apprehended by police. It is believed they were on their way here to the Bahamas. Belize TV also reports that Knowles and Leach were not wanted by police there. However, Belize Financial Intelligence Unit officials intend to charge them with failing to declare funds over 20,000 Belize dollars to the authorities. Now, as previously mentioned, we've been trying to contact officials in Belize for an update, but was not able to up to news time. Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell told our news team Sunday afternoon that due to privacy laws, his ministry is unable to reveal any information on the matter. This is a developing story. ZNS News will continue to follow. Altavis Munnings, ZNS Network News.
The establishment of the Bahamas Agriculture and Marine Science Institute and the resurgence of the Andros economy are high on the Christie administration's agenda. And despite criticism surrounding the significant amount of money being invested into this venture, Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie believes it's the beginning of the revolution of another major pillar of our economy. Here's Clint Watson.
Without hesitation, Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie feels BAMSI will be the key to unlock the door of economic growth and development for the Big Yard.
It's going to be the prettiest campus in the region. It's going to attract students from the Bahamas and elsewhere. It's going to be here for the long term. And I think the commercial side of it is going to have major impact, not only in terms of what BAMSI produces commercially and for sale, but also what it causes the farmers of Andros and the other islands, agricultural islands, to produce.
The school is set to open by the end of this month, but already signs of a revitalized economy are being experienced.
You know, for the last 7-8 months, we've had a revenue of over $1 million coming out of North Andros. The Minister of Agriculture sent us a note saying it was difficult for him to find accommodation for his teachers. And so that kind of indication tells you we are right in saying a city will grow around this.
And the government is not resting there. Another major step will be taken in another month.
Bringing in the University of Stanford for major exercise in determining a pathway for business development of an economically sustainable kind. And so we are going to not stop. We're going to continue to work this. And whether it's the National Trust, the Audubon Society, the Nature Conservancy, private businesses, we are going to be moving with universities in tandem with BAMSI, and the people might as well get used to it. It's going to be a major force in the country.
Amid concerns of the cost of BAMSI and calls from the opposition for an audit, Minister of Agriculture V. Alpha Gray maintains the project is within budget, with some $50 million already spent.
And we've just begun. And so those who would like to see it fail, tell them keep on looking. As I know, there has been no cost overruns. All of the buildings are within budget.
Livingston Forbes, senior officer with the Ministry of Works, gave a breakdown of how the funds are being spent.
Construction is the contractor who's doing this. It's for about $2.6 million. Perhaps by the time it's finished, might be $2.8, $2.9 million. And we are now installing windows and doors. And so we're turning the corners in time of the finished stretch. The female dormitory, which is next door, is also nearing that percentage, also being done by another company. And Daco Construction, of about the same amount of money, $2.6, $2.7 million or thereabout. And they're also installing windows and doors, etc.
The government has also authorized the long-awaited repair of roads, which will complement the school. Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
Meanwhile, despite a recent downgrade by Moody's, a senior government official claims investor confidence in the Bahamas is at an all-time high. However, a leading businessman who is proposing a major development for Southwest New Providence strongly disagrees. That story tonight from Sieska Adderley.
In spite of the country's current fiscal state, Minister of State for Investments Kalis Roll believes investor confidence is extremely high. When you consider that investors from around the world express interest in the Bahamas on a daily basis. He used recent developments taking place at the Atlantis Paradise Island Resort as an example, applauding them for its ability to refinance the resort and find a blue-chip investor to purchase the one and only Ocean Club.
You look at some of the projects that we've approved in the Exuma Keys, you look at South Ocean and the fact that they had multiple bidders, you look at Hilton, the fact that they have multiple bidders. I believe that investor confidence is still extremely high given the set of circumstances, and we still have interests from all over the world.
However, leading businessman Tennyson Wells doesn't share Roll's view. Wells, who is proposing to construct Aqualux Resort and Casino in Coral Harbor, has been challenged to find investors in the project.
But the problem right now is that the investment houses who fund these kinds of projects do not have the confidence in the Bahamas because of lack of airlift. They don't see that the country is being perhaps managed the way it ought to be. And so we're waiting to see what's going to happen.
Roll called Wells' statements inaccurate given the types of investments that's been processed by the Bahamas Investment Authority over the last year.
Now you're going to get funding for a $2 billion project or whatever the scale is immediately. You're going to have to go and you're going to have to pound the pavement to do it. The recent downgrade I don't think has anything to do with it, because if you look at the outlook, Moody's said that it's stable. So they have confidence that once the fiscal consolidation program kicks in, the Bahamas is going to fare well.
The Bahamas was recently downgraded from a double Ba1 to a double Ba2, but the outlook has been improved from negative to stable. And with several major projects on tap for the country, the government is hopeful things will turn around. Sieska Adderley, ZNS Network News.
Thanks, Sieska. Former Bahamas Electricity Corporation board member Dionisio de Aguilar is pushing for the government to introduce energy reform as the country's main electricity supplier continues to struggle financially. In an interview with reporters early this week, he called the public ownership of utilities a complete disaster.
BEC is in just an absolute horrendous condition. I'm a former director of BEC. I was on the board of BEC until the last general election, and I can tell you it is a disaster. It is bankrupt. And if they don't tell you that, that's what it is. It has no money, no one's paying their bills, and it is essentially bankrupt. And therefore, as a result, they have and it's a vicious circle. People don't pay their bills, you don't get the parts, you don't get money in to buy the parts in order to fix your generators. So you can't do any advanced purchasing. So your generators are constantly down.
D'Aguilar believes the situation will only get worse once the multi-million-dollar Bahamas is completed next spring. Therefore, he is urging the government to do something and to do it quickly. Late last month, Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie confirmed to ZNS News that the government approved its energy policy, which seeks to ensure that BEC customers will have efficient, reliable, and affordable electricity supply. Still, D'Aguilar claims, though, it's not enough.
We have to demand reform to our energy sector. They say that they're doing something, not convinced it's the right approach. I guess they're doing something, but we as citizens have to ensure that whatever they do, which of course is very shrouded in secrecy, it comes down.
The Bahamas Electricity Corporation's proposal to add $30 to next month's residential bill is not receiving much fanfare. A few consumers we spoke with today claim that the company has not been providing quality services for a very long time, and to increase its fee is a slap in the face.
Really can't see they're doing that, because like people who are on pension, the little pension ain't enough to take care of them. Buy little food and little milk and whatever, little water and stuff like that. That can't take care of them. And to add something else on they're taking the little that they have, I think is very, 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 very wrong.
There's just too many back and forths with government officials. They seem to want to give us every year, this same time of year, a different reason, a different excuse as to why current is going off, as if they don't know what they have to do to the facility is some real upgrading.
The striving persons already who find it hard to keep the light on. $30 may seem small to the very wealthy, but it's going to be catastrophe.
And coming up, RBC made a significant contribution to national literacy. That story and more when the Weekend Edition continues.